All right. Welcome everybody to the pre-show. Got ourselves a interesting show tonight. Apparently, we also have like the opposite of camera focus tonight. Come on. Yeah, there we go. It's better when it's focused on me. Why is it so change the ISO? What is with this camera? Why you do this? Okay. There we go. Why the hell I gotta fight with my camera every time I do this, but oh, it's every single time, guys. Every single freaking time. So, I am happy to be here. McLeod will be here shortly. Uh, this is going to be a good show. I think we got some interesting stuff for tonight. Excited, excited. Got some good stuff. We got some stuff that I also think should have gone differently than it did. But we'll see how that goes. We've also got drops going on right now. All you gotta do is hang out in channel for I think it's 2 hours in the drops. I swear to God, I didn't touch it. Like, Twitch is getting a little aggressive with the ads. Like, a lot so. Like, it's getting a bit much. You didn't miss anything other than me messing around with my camera, so. Hey, McLeod. Maybe. Cloud. Just realized I've been muted and deafened, and Cloud can't talk. There we
It's
go.
all good. Hey.
Oh,
My voice isn't garbled and all that kind of stuff.
that sounds good to me.
Okay. I'm manically downloading a patch.
Yeah, the test server patch is not small.
No, and I thought it was going in the background for the most of the day, except it wasn't. So
Oof.
my mistake.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Trying to level
Yeah, and I
set
thought.
here.
Okay.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it's just I don't have like gigabit internet kind of thing. You know,
It's all right though.
such is life. Hopefully, everyone out there in the audience is good, and that your internet doesn't suck. It's just mine.
Yeah, we can hope. We can hope.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to kick things off for the pre-show here, we've got some EVE Online news.
So I was talking to a few people about it, and things happened, and stuff occurred, and people brainstormed, and um I told them that I was not going to be smug on the show, and I will remain not being smug on the show, but like, oh my god, some of those changes.
Yeah, yeah. How's it going?
Hey,
First time
I'm
chatter. Good to see you guys. The more the merrier. Always happy to see new people.
Yep.
Yeah, so to kick this off, EVE Online comes out with a blockchain and EVE Online article that the
Mm.
summary is that finally CCP Hilmar, the head of CCP Games, uh, has read the room and realized that uh, NFT officially stands for not for tranquility. I'd like to note that he had
S-
no
So,
comment when referring to the Chinese server or any other servers.
so yes, but also no, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Um, I need to find that. I need to find
They
that piece.
are he does say this in a really strange way. Overall, the Eve IP will continue to push the boundaries of digital economies and virtual worlds. He's been a huge proponent of the uh, play to earn model, uh, where like you could make real cash off of the game, but it never leads good places, and it only leads to more botting. Like,
Yeah,
especially if you can find any way of pulling cash out of the system, then it's just inevitable.
yeah. So the kind of the writing of the piece is like sounds good. The only issue is like there are um there are certain qualifiers dotted about the place that kind of if you know what to look for, it kind of it's a little unsettling. Like for example, the phrase, right? On that note, we have no plans to add blockchain technology into EVE Online's global server Tranquility for the foreseeable future. The phrase that you're looking there that's unsettling is for the foreseeable future, specifically foreseeable.
Yeah. Which is not a like we took it off the we took it off all plans. We just at the moment we're not looking at
Yeah, and especially with the next bit, like for the coming years, development for Tranquility will focus on building exciting new opportunities, right? And literally, kind of at the start of this, um, he was phrasing that CCP, our mission is to have the Eve universe outlive us all, the Eve forever. One huge part of this is exploring new technologies and new possibilities. Um, and then straight after that, talking about this philosophy is rooted in Eve Online's inception. That we were seen as too radical and too ambitious. That yet here we are. Many of us at CCP have been following the new frontier that's been developing around blockchains and cryptocurrencies. So it's kind of like this awkward kind of phrases and stuff dotted about. Um, that when you read it, like just word for word, front top to bottom, like it reads okay, and it reads like they've read the room. But you start to dissect it, and it's I don't know.
it. Yeah. Yeah. I always anything coming out of CCP, I've always got to have a solid amount of questioning behind what they actually mean, because they very frequently will do things that they just should know better. You know, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I hate to sound
yeah,
cynical, but he talked to a good lawyer. Yeah, like, and that's the reality is that he's been on the crypto train forever, and you know it just doesn't lead good places in gaming. It doesn't have a place in gaming.
now the funny thing is he talks about blockchains and cryptocurrencies specifically in in this particular article, right? But he doesn't talk about pay to earn or play to earn, sorry.
Yeah,
Which is a lot of people consider play to earn having a lot of connection to cryptocurrencies because that's how a lot of play to earn games generally tend to run is to use cryptocurrencies as a transaction tool. Um, and it's said in here in the actual thing, NFT stand like that for CCP, NFT stands for not for tranquility. It doesn't mean that they can't create their own non-cryptocurrency that's based on a blockchain, but still, but just another transactional currency. In the same way that like you see all sorts of different all sorts of different currencies and say things like Lost Ark, right? And if that provides the kind of like the layer for which you can kind of like exchange cryptocurrencies for, and so the cryptocurrencies don't technically like touch uh, tranquility, then technically they've kept to their word. But I would say that that's taking the mick, you know, in bad faith, as they say. Because honestly, when you think about how they want to sort of potentially bring back, purchasing ships for actual currency, they're going to be sourcing those ships. They say they're going to be sourcing those ships from players. Well, I mean, if somebody's sourcing something that you've spent time creating in whatever, right? And then they take that and they sell that to somebody, whether they sell that to somebody, in a pseudo currency that's just inside of the game, and then that currency is translated to another currency inside the game, and then that translates outside of the game, and then somebody translates that into crypto. It's I mean, it's play to earn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, lost 800K by accepting a guild invite by mistake, and my guild was disbanded. Still no news from
Oh,
AGS. That sucks.
so
That's
that sucks. That is definitely a really sucky situation. I'm not sure whether AGS will jump to your defense there. I know that, like, say in something like EVE Online, if you were scammed out of money in game, DCP isn't going to kind of come to your aid and reimburse you on that one. Like, it's kind of cutthroat in that regard. I have no idea what AGS's stance on that is, but like, I've seen people lose a lot of money in sort of scams and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so it's a really bitter pill to swallow, man. And I hope at least you learn that there is a mechanic or some kind of thing there that you should be very aware of next time.
yeah, expensive lesson to learn. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid talking about our topics for the actual show time here, but
Yeah.
uh,
A little difficult. Actually, I've got one that very few people here will actually really care about, and you probably won't even care about anyway. But like, you should care a little bit about at least. Is So if anybody's heard of DaVinci Resolve, it is like a video editor, audio editor. Let's go. Is a this It's a bunch of things all rolled into one package, right? It's free at the moment, like completely free. I think you can purchase some version of it that is slightly more involved, that has like a lot of super advanced stuff that really no YouTuber really needs in any way, shape, or form. Like, maybe if you're making multi-million-dollar feature films and stuff like that, you might use, because of the implementations of stuff. But apparently DaVinci Resolve has a live stream about what they call DaVinci Resolve Cloud, coming up next Monday. So Monday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell that's all about.
that should be good.
Yeah. If that's something that's a little bit better, than their current like cooperative cloud-based thing that they have at the moment, then that might be actually pretty good. But I don't know. 'Cause they've got a few like solutions for teams using DaVinci Resolve like collaboratively on the same project at the same time, sort of thing. But I think it's a little bit janky or a little bit convoluted as such. So maybe it's some kind of like super awesome feature advance that they're coming up with. But hopefully it's not hey, we're going to subscription, because then I'd be like, okay, I need to go and
Yeah.
shout. I need to book a plane somewhere to go and shout at somebody.
Yeah. Month after we cancel our Adobe subscription.
Right? Yeah. Look, month after we kind of look at how much money we actually spent on the Adobe subscription and go, oh Jesus Christ, really? When we could have
Yeah.
just been doing this. Like, oh my god.
That's
Yeah,
been a
TLDR, guys. By the way, out there, if you're paying for an Adobe Master Suite, sort of, or Adobe, an Adobe kind of like full Adobe kind of subscription, there's alternatives out there that cost like basically a fraction of that, and you get it
yeah.
forever.
We learned that lesson a little too late. For those that
Yeah.
don't know, running a stream like this, even with the numbers that we pull, is not exactly the most profitable thing in the world. We have, and you guys can relatively see this throughout the stream. We don't have that many subs. That's because we're not as regular of a show. Like we're, every Wednesday we're on and have been for. We used to do Tuesdays, but we switched recently to Wednesdays. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, we've been going for about 2.5 years or so now. And uh,
But it's only like what? It's like 3 hours out of 24 hours of the day, out of like 7 of those days, like out of one 3 hour slot of 24 hours of one day of 7 of the days of the week. Like you know it's not like we put ourselves out there like crazy.
yeah, we also have this really weird um, perception from people in the audience that like we're developers of some kind, and we're not. We're just content creators. So like,
Yeah, that's true.
um,
It's
which
weird, like
honestly, like we've had people like drop into our channel and chat with us, and they're like, "Oh, well, in your guys' next update, you need to make sure this is in there." And it's like, we don't work for Amazon, like you know.
I mean, if Amazon wants to throw me a check, I'll be happy to take it. But like
Yeah.
that ain't
As
gonna
I've,
be
as
it.
I've said
I'm
before, the job that
I
Amazon could give me is not the job that would pay enough to pull me out of my current job. Is not the job that works at AGS. It's like they'd have to pull me in as like a senior dev or like a producer level. I don't think they want to do that.
yeah, and if they're gonna
Generally, you
pay
want
you
some
the
kind of
money.
gaming career experience there.
Yeah, and if they're gonna hire you as an entry level, sort of for the pay that you want, like there's
Yeah.
gonna be some serious like equality of pay issues going on with that
Yeah. So
that they're gonna have to
that
resolve.
said, like if they want to throw me an offer, like it needs to be well over six figure, uh, you know, well over six figures, and we can talk stock options. But till then, we don't work for them.
Nope.
you know, it's entirely just us, just chatting. We're having a good time. Um,
Although to be fair,
we're
to be fair, if they did throw me a check or a salary per month or something like that, I would have to say that to stipulate that, like, I am still going to be making my own particular opinions heard. Like, this isn't a gag. This isn't a check to gag me in any way, shape, or
yeah.
form. Like,
We actually denied
something's
recently. We denied, and I'm not going to call out the game itself. But we actually denied a sponsorship opportunity instead of reaping in what would have been um, several $1,000s. We denied it because, as part of the contract, we wouldn't be allowed to say our unfiltered opinion,
yeah.
and I'm not about that. You know, Like, simply put, I won't tell you what company it was with or any of that, but I can tell you that, like, we're not interested in we're not interested in shilling for a company. We're here because we want to be.
Yeah, if so there's a difference between like, you know, giving us money, like, or trying to sort of like give us money to showcase a product or an item or something like that. That is terrible, and asking us to sort of, say, please talk, please make it sound really good. Like, but if
If you
the
want to if you
product
want to
or
give me
service
a
or
couple
something like that
thousand
is
bucks,
good, then we'll say it's good.
yeah,
Like if it is actually decent.
yeah, if a game like Bloons is a perfect example of this. Bloons
You've been
is
playing that on and off.
like so it's an addicting game. I love this game. It's a small scale, you know, like I think you can play with up to 4 people. Tower defense game. It's
Mm.
not incredibly difficult to code. Uh, Overall, it's just a fun game. Well, the thing with this game, if they paid us, a couple thousand, whatever our like going rate for whatever the length of the contract or whatever, like there's a whole equation that goes into this. If they paid us to go play it, we would. But regardless, we would still say our opinions about the things that are broken in the game or the things that might not be balanced or, you know, or that kind of thing. Anytime like there's a contract stipulation that says, you cannot talk about X, no. Like, sorry, not gonna happen. Like it's one thing to be like, hey, on a sponsored stream, you can't, use profanity left and right because they might want to use it for marketing later. Um, it's an entire another
Or
story for
yeah.
that. It's a different thing when they're like, you can't showcase the game in a negative way. If they want to write a contract that says that, there is a number that you can do that. But I can tell you that the number that you get for your average ad, like you'll see it like, to be hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored on the stream, you know,
Yeah.
they're not paying enough to break ethics on in terms of recommending something or not. Like they to get that level, you're not paying anywhere near that. You know, and I'll be the first one to say that number is probably a few $1,000,000 because the second you do it, if you endorse something that's shit, you're never going to do it again. Everyone's going to leave, and
You
that's the end of things.
and the other thing is the Streisand effect, right? Like if you don't know this, Barbara Streisand effect. Essentially, she went and said something on the internet. It fucking stood for years, and basically the internet went like completely like nuts on her. It's just well, not nuts on her. Like she might have to Google this kind of thing, but essentially it was a case of like she either said or asked or did something, and the entirety of the internet did the opposite. And that's kind of like it's essentially one of those sort of things that like showcases the internet's capability of being able to respond to you doing something dumb, but also you know the internet never forgets. So if you do something dumb on the internet, it is there as a mark on you forever.
It's
So if
literally, as I see it, like the only time that would ever happen is if I'm looking to cash out and retire for good. And
like live on an island somewhere
I'm in
or
my
on a
early
boat.
30s, so it ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Also, we don't have near the audience that they would want for something like that.
No.
Also, like, and again, like, why would we? You could make more money off of doing sponsored content for any other game, just over time instead of a one-off bullshit, like, because that's not what we're about. We don't want it to be about that.
Hmm.
You know, which is also why you don't see very many sponsors. You can see below our stream, um, who sponsors us directly, and we are not coy about these sponsorships. We're not hiding anything. Um,
we're also not like really chasing sponsorships. It's not like we're like calling up every single company here, there, and
Yeah.
everywhere, and going like, "Please sponsor us, please." Like it's not like that. It's like you get a much better quality of sponsor, and you get a much better sort of relationship with the sponsor if they come to you, right? It's
Mhm.
just it's very much like it's very much like dating to some degree. If you're
Exactly.
seen as desperate, like women will kind of like you will get that impression very fucking quickly, and they'll steer clear of
Yeah.
you.
Now, the funny part about this is like I opened this up and I realized we haven't updated our Secret Labs ad since Christmas. It's been 4 months. Like this tells you like we've been so like Secret Labs is one of the first groups that we have an affiliate agreement with that like you know one like not gonna not gonna sponsor something I don't use and that I don't recommend. I sit in this chair probably 12 hours a day at least. I work from home often. So
and
knowing
and as you
that,
can tell,
you know,
as you can tell, like Ace is a extremely thin, tiny person who
yes, just a
essentially
tiny little person.
he is literally like a feather on that seat. Like he does
Yeah,
not really push that seat in any way, shape, or form to its limits.
yeah. Like I actually really
So
like this. Like one of the and I have actually given really bad reviews to other chairs before. There was a chair that I bought that I referred to as a torture device. Uh,
yeah, and
like it was one of those
it had
racing chairs, like just
good
pure.
reviews, didn't it?
Yeah, it had
It
thousands
had
of good reviews. It was like, who's using this? Like BDSM enthusiasts? Like what the hell? Like, you know, you sit in it for more than 4 minutes and you're like, my ass hurts. You know,
Puritans, it's Puritans
yeah,
who are using it. Like they're sort of like, oh, if I suffer in this life, then I'll be just that much closer to God in the next.
yeah.
Right?
You know, like
Yeah.
aside from that, so people can understand the difference. We do have like below our stream, we've got the Secret Labs one down there. We've got affiliate links to go shop Amazon stuff, which is not Amazon New World. Like they're not Amazon games. This is Amazon the storefront. Uh, and I can tell you that doesn't make a ton of money because it's literally just like people like it is such a small portion of the income. It's not even funny. And
Yeah.
then of course we've got the New World Creator logo on there, which is Amazon Game Studio, and we have had one sponsored stream from them before in the past. So like total clarity there. We're not hiding that. It was marked as hashtag sponsored. You know,
Hmm.
I was back during launch, and we actually did two because the first one didn't comply with all of our rules, and didn't comply with the standards that we wanted to. So we actually did a second stream to make sure that all the
But
requirements were met on both sides. So like
yeah.
that's why
But
like if you
what
look
was
back, there's
nice?
but
What I
we
found
leave
nice
that
about
up
that?
because we have
Yeah.
assets on our show that are actually directly from Amazon Game Studio as part of the creator program, which for FCC purposes, we have to say we're supported by them. So like,
And you don't generally tend to hear like streamers talking about FCC compliance kind of thing, but A's particular job, where he works and all that kind of stuff. Like he has to be fairly,
there's a lot of
strict
ethics
on
paperwork
being able to,
involved in doing this as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like,
being
yeah.
understanding where he, dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's where he's concerned. So that's understandable.
So like, basically, like, we wanted to give you guys an opportunity to like see behind the curtain a little bit on like why we
Hmm.
think certain ways and like you know what we actually mean by certain things, and like I won't show you the amount of money we make, but I can tell you, we have currently 10 active subscribers. Yeah, just
Thank
throwing
you
it out
very
there.
much. Anybody,
Thank you to those 10
anybody who
people.
is, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, thank you to our
I didn't
Patreons.
realize it was
Thank
10,
you
but at least
to
we're on
New
double
World
figures.
Database
Yes,
for
this
hosting
is
us
true as
there.
well.
Uh, like we really do enjoy the support. Obviously, it's not the same since launch. Like things, if you look at our channel since like pre-launch, you can see the build, you can see the hype for launch, and then you can see tick, 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 following the player base numbers all the way down.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I showed you this. You were there, kind of like you were looking at stats and stuff, and it's kind of funny because I came across a YouTuber who was essentially kind of saying like, one of the things that you definitely shouldn't do is just be constantly looking and trying to figure out like, trying to evaluate your performance based solely on stats. It's a surefire way of um, of having this affect your mental health,
mhm.
apparently. So you should see it as an outlet for things that you enjoy doing, like something that you enjoy doing. So
Mhm.
that is my advice to UAs. And I do recall when you were looking at those stats, I was like,
Oh yeah.
dude, like this isn't a reflection on us. This is just a reflection on the public's interest in the game at large. You know,
Yes. Um, and what's funny is we overlaid our uh, viewer count and our income, and they match almost perfectly with the drop in players. Like in terms of like percentage loss, it's almost like because we do a weekly show, so like we have every week since launch, and it's same curve.
week by
So
week by
trust me,
week.
like when
Yeah,
people are like, the player base is going, the player base is going, it's like, yeah, we see that too.
I mean, this is also one of so yeah. This is also one of the reasons why we have had a look. We've recently kind of had a look at the show and kind of want to diversify the show out a bit. Um, it's not for the lack of content that we can talk about when it comes to New World. It's more along the lines of if you tie a show to an IP, if the IP dies, then the show dies. You know, um, I actually do have faith that that New World will slowly kind of build up the sort of goodwill and the player base, slowly but progressively, right? But like when it comes to sort of your visibility, as a channel, like our visibility as a channel kind of thing, like it's probably best if we talk about a few more games, and it gives you guys a bit better of a good representation as to what we're about, rather than just have you guys under the misapprehension that like literally all we do and all we play is New World, which is not the case.
Yes,
Like
and
we
that's
play other
that's
games.
probably one of the more risky perceptions, is that like people get this idea, and this like I had to turn off on Discord. I had to actually turn off the ability for people to see what game I'm playing, because like I play a lot of Apex Legends, I play a lot of Star Citizen, and all of these other games. Like people were giving me shit nonstop. Like, what are you doing playing other games? I thought you were the New World guy. And it's like, yes, I play New World. I also play other games. I have fun. I have fun gaming in general. And it's kind of funny because like in order to get less crap, uh, 1 second.
Yeah,
Something.
in order to have less people basically complain, like sort of poking at you, going like, "Why aren't you playing New World? Why is because you're not playing New World all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Do I have to read into that like that New World is dying or something?" It's like, no, no, I do play other games. That's it's just one of those things. Like you're gonna get a better representation as to who we are if you understand that we play more games,
Yes.
and we have opinions on like the development of other games as well. Time for the fucking pitchfork, guy, boys. But so, and we fell into a trap to some degree regarding, setting up content, setting up like sort of our YouTube. So I did want to kind of like bring us on to the whole YouTube thing, because we do have a YouTube, yes. Does it have that many members? No, not really. Does it have many subscribers? No, not really. Is that down to the lack of content? Not so much. Is it down to the quality of the content? Probably, because we don't scrub the videos that well for, to be optimal for, what people expect from YouTube as such. A lot of it, well, 90% of it is basically a place to rewatch the shows essentially in full. There are some excerpts from shows for certain things there, and they've done fairly well. But the mainstay of the stuff that's on there is basically just full shows, right? The problem is, we label we label the channel the New World Order show, and I swear to God,
Yes.
9 times out of 10, when I upload something to and send it to subscribers, the freaking tag underneath the player comes up saying New World Order is a a conspiracy theory, etc., etc., etc. And when that happens, that is YouTube suppressing the video.
Hmm.
We have nothing to do with the actual conspiracy. We're not talking about conspiracy theories and all that stuff. We're not promoting conspiracy theories in any way, shape, or form. It's just, we're just playing off that term because of because of New World, and we thought that would be kind of funny. But lo and behold, the algorithm that YouTube creates does not understand irony
Yeah.
or
And it's
funny
and it's
plays
one
on
of the things
words.
that's driving the change for the channel as well. It's like
Yeah.
so there's a few things in play here. And we've been open about this before. Um hey, thanks for the sub. Um
Cheers, dude.
few things in play here. One, you're likely going to see a channel name change. We can do that without affecting follows and sub lengths and all that. Like, so don't be surprised if you see a name change at some point here. It's still in the works. There's kind of a bunch of like give and take with some of this stuff. It's not particularly easy because we're also tying it to uh, creation of an LLC. Uh, which creates another layer of challenge there, um, as well as another layer of ethics
It's
paperwork that I have to fill out.
it it
Yeah.
it it's necessary challenge and necessary paperwork as far as I'm concerned. But
Yes.
it's it's one of those things where like we screwed up with the name once, so now that we're actually doing paperwork and stuff like that, we should probably really make sure that the name that we go with isn't something that like is going to screw us over again, and we could need to like remake ditch an LLC and
Yes.
remake a new LLC is like a little harder than changing the channel name on Twitch.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So basically, expect to see something like that. Expect to see some sort of change. We're workshopping. I think we've agreed on a name,
Yeah.
which like frankly is like 90% of the work. Um, and now it's just government paperwork plus my job's government paperwork plus um, banks and like business account type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so like there's that, which is gonna be
Uh,
basically my summer now that tax season is finally over. Um, and I officially got I officially they accepted my return yesterday. So
oh, nice.
you know, I was very happy about that. Like for
Yeah.
for those that don't know, filing taxes as a streamer is not fun at all. Yeah, it is. It
I would
is.
recommend I would recommend that you do not file your car insurance as job description slash job title broadcaster.
Yeah, yeah,
Unless you want to see like how far a number can increase out of nowhere, like
Yeah. Well, so like some of the funny parts about this is like, I don't have a camera that faces the other direction here, so you guys can't see the full setup, but you can see things like the new microphone boom and new microphone. We showcase the Beacon Mix Create. Uh, I've got a Stream Deck. I've got two key lights to make sure that I've got some balanced lighting on me to prevent that. You know, like there's all kinds of different tech that we've invested in, which like a lot of that is also tax write-offs against income that, as I said earlier, is not that large. So like, even with the income that we got so far, minus the Adobe subscriptions, minus you know uh, uh, tech enhancements and stuff like that, this is like net neutral. Like we're not
Yeah.
we're not pulling in a lot of cash from this. And don't get me wrong, we don't do this for the money. We do this because we enjoy gaming. We do this because we enjoy building a community. We enjoy talking to you guys and having fun. You know, that's what this is about. Um, it does enable us to get some fun toys like the Beacon audio system here. Like, it's pretty baller, you um, but it's not the main incentive. If it
Yeah, I
was,
need to have
if
some.
it was, you guys would have seen Raid Shadow Legends a hell of a lot more on this channel.
Yes, you would
Yeah,
have.
get spammed to that
Or
email every time I turn around.
what was the other one? Chloe.
Yeah,
Chloe.
Chloe. Yeah. You
Oh Jesus.
so that was like one of the dumbest offers I think I've ever received. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know I shouldn't talk about a specific game's offer for sponsorship live on stream, but like that was one of those like, are you kidding me? Like,
You know what kind of what struck me was like I was there kind of going like, wait, this is a thing apparently. Like, how is this a thing? This is really weird. It is essentially the so if you've ever gone like to a seaside sort of thing, like they have arcades and various different machines, and they have like stuffed toys and what have you, and you use a claw to come down to pick up a soft toy, and if it does, sometimes most of the times it doesn't grab it, sometimes it does, and you win a soft toy or whatever, right? It's essentially that, but through the internet, and then you kind of like watch like it happening with cameras, like via webcams and stuff. It's really weird. Like I didn't think that was a thing, but apparently that's a thing.
yeah. And it
And
was not a
they
small amount of
sponsor
money.
streams about it.
It was not a small amount of money.
It was, yeah,
Like,
it was really weird.
and it was like,
You know,
McLeod and I had the conversation where we're like, this this fits the bill in terms of like if we wanted to just like milk this for
I
cash, but at the
I
same
would do
time
it as a
everyone would sit
parody.
there and be like, what are you doing?
I would be interested in doing it, you know, like ironically, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a parody, and just like just yeah,
Mhm.
just make it extremely like extremely satirical, and full of irony and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, so it is literally kind of like a joke between us and you guys, for the sake of having a sponsored stream as such. But I
And
am fairly certain that
there's some streamers out there who would do that in a heartbeat just because it's money, but that ain't us.
yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah, and contract wise, you'll find that like the contracts in those things basically say no, you can't take the piss out of the out of the product, as they say. So it's kind of sucks.
yeah. So like basically the gist of this is we value your guys' time. If we're gonna go live, it pushes a notification to a ton of people's mobile devices and their emails and all of that. We don't want to be the people out there pinging you for like something stupid. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's one thing if it's like, hey, we got an offer to play another MMO, or we got an offer to talk about, you know, God forbid Nvidia give us like a bunch of graphics cards or something, like, then you bet your ass we will have a build stream. Um, because that would be relevant to you guys though. So like you can see where like
So we
the
do have
logic
conversations
is.
about tech, because
Uh,
we do have conversations about tech like every so often. You guys, like if you've sort of jumped in before the main show and listened to our kind of pre-show warming up, we talk about all sorts of things, including tech as well. So yeah.
we were one of the one of the only New World channels that actually managed to cover and get the correct news when it
Oh
came
yeah.
to the graphics card failures at the beginning during the game's launch.
Mm,
We went
yep.
in depth and found that hey, here's what was actually happening, and got the technical explanation.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
how's it going? Uh, for those that don't
I
know,
would love
because
to
I know
give
there's a
away
ton of you
GPUs
guys
at some
that
point, but that'd be fantastic.
yeah, I'd love to give away GPUs. Nvidia hook us up. We'll be happy to. But as I said, we don't have any money in the budget for it.
Right
if
now,
we
we're
if
running
we
at a
did,
loss.
I think if we did, I
I
think the
mean,
next thing is I need a streaming computer. Uh,
so the thing is, we have run giveaways before, and it has, like, obviously,
yeah.
we do that at a cost to us. Like, I think, well, what was it, on our 2-year anniversary stream, we did like a bunch of giveaways for Steam gift cards, right? Or it was Amazon, some were Amazon gift vouchers, and some was, I think, the big prize at the end was like a $60 or $75, Steam gift card, something like that.
We're currently
Yeah.
on the Paralysis server on New World. Uh, although I'm currently on
We
the
say
test server.
currently,
We will be on
because there's news about
Valhalla
that.
very shortly.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that is the topic for the show
yes.
as well.
We still have both of our transfer tokens because McLeod and I are both very lazy when it comes to leaving our server. US East. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so we play on a very low pop server. It's of course merges are coming. That's one of our topics for the show. So I'm pretty happy with that. Um, like I just haven't seen a reason to move. Like other than like I miss playing Outpost Rush. You know,
Yeah.
like and we know that based on uh, their public outreach that they're looking at regional queues. So like people on low pop servers aren't going to get shafted on that front anymore. Um, we don't have a date on when we're getting that, but we know that that's one of their major priorities because it really is something that is, you know, and of course that goes all the way down to like matchmaking for um, expeditions and all of that. Always being able to find people to play with for content is important. And it, of course,
Hmm.
it enables them to do even further than that. Enables them to do what they're referring to as the social wars, or the wasn't social wars. It was
Casual wars.
casual
Is it
wars.
casual?
Yes,
They refer to it as casual wars. Yeah.
where like 100 people queue up, boom, everybody lands on field. 50 of them are defenders, 50 of them are attackers, and the winners and losers get the caches for playing, and like enabling more people to actually get involved in it. Which on a large server with a populated server, that's more of a big deal. Like it's more of a like there's
I
less
feel
opportunity for people to actually play. Um,
I feel like
and
I feel like I feel like 50 randoms against another 50 randoms. I think I kind of feel like the winner there is whoever has, enough charisma and enough sort of like leadership prowess to be able to,
mm,
essentially herd cats, most effectively. Because 50 people not knowing what the fuck they're doing versus another 50 people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. I mean, it'll give you an idea. It'll really give you a sense of scale for the fighting. But when it comes to like proper wars, like you know that groups have that like technique and all that tactics and stuff like that dialed in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Desync wise, backflows like desync wise is actually like if you're gonna compare this to like 2-3 weeks ago, like the desync is like substantially better.
We'll go with it's the 90% fix. It's not
Yeah,
perfect. There's still
there's
something to
there's
fix,
still
but it's
yeah there's still a little
way
bit
better.
there. It does tend to get a little bit worse as it goes as the sort of like the wars or the outpost rush kind of thing kind of like goes on. So there's still definitely margin for for improvement,
Yeah.
but it definitely is a lot better.
Yeah. And they've been doing a good job of, like you said, they're doing a really good job of fixing stuff. It really is like they're not leaving this to the wolves, and that it really is something that they're clearly planning to support for quite a while. Um, obviously we just had the free weekend and all of that. There's a whole like obviously we're 8 minutes out from the show, so I don't want to hit all the talking points here, but uh,
Yeah.
we just had the free weekend. The numbers appear to have leveled out. We probably gained a few new people, and we're going to continue to gain a few new people because of the price right now. But ballpark, the last couple of weeks here, we've seen increasing numbers on the weekends. Given there was the double XP weekend and then the free weekend back to back, but we're not seeing the loss of players anymore. I think we're seeing what is basically the balanced player base. And with the server merges later this week, I think we're seeing some. I think we're going to see the people that are going to be here for a while. So yeah,
Mm.
uh, I'll
Ah,
have to repeat that during the show because
yes. I feel like you might have to.
Cloud, make sure to turn on your camera.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm not wondering how that's going to affect my download of the PTR, but let's see.
Yeah, we will find out. So one of
Hmm.
the things that we are hoping to do when the time is right, and you guys will probably see me periodically be distracted, is that during the show tonight on the PTR, a war is set between the devs and the players. I'm currently standing in front of Luxandra, who just changed their
Yeah.
faction alliance. Uh, saw that. um, so
Trixie. Trixie
if you guys
Alexandra.
are looking to join, I believe based on the numbers that I'm seeing in town here, there's probably available slots. Obviously it's 50 on 50. Devs are on one side, players are on another. I don't know if they're all devs on one side, but when that does kick off, that will be what we showcase.
Yeah.
So expect that during the show. We might be talking about other things at the same time as we're doing that. Um,
Yeah, I
Anticipating
don't
this
know whether
show
you
to
want to
be on the
wrap up.
longer end. So
So Asa, this is talking about what we're going to do in that regard. 5 minutes before the actual show starts, and in the sort of pre-show is like classic us anyway. Um, how do you shall we go try and get through like all the content before the actual fight, and then do the 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or half an hour of the fight?
we take an actual look at the. We could probably get through. Yeah, we could probably get through our.
In an hour, sort of thing.
I don't know because
We could we
that's.
could we could potentially, because we don't know whether the actual fight is going to be a half hour or whether it's going to be like 10 minutes. So it all depends.
Yes.
But we could
Um,
we
let's
could
just get
hold
as
a,
far as
maybe
we
a
can,
6
and
pack.
then once it starts up, it starts up. This is, of
Okay.
course, assuming that we actually get picked for the war, uh, and that
Oh
nobody
yeah,
plays
there's also that.
shenanigans on that.
Yeah. So my not wanting to jinx it, but my time to completion on my new old PTR reads literally 1 hour and 10 seconds.
I don't want to be a naysayer, but I don't think that's going to finish in time. Oh,
Yay, oy vey. That's, yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what we'll see.
About 4 minutes till showtime, guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, out of interest, are there any drops slash gaming loot?
I believe there is. It's not very descriptive, but I believe there is.
I know that there is there's a few sort of Prime Gaming loot kind of stuff that you can get. That's
Yes,
decent.
the Crimson Plague and Edge set.
Okay. Yeah.
The one that was designed on Shroud Stream with the Adobe crossover as well.
Yes.
That one's still up for drops. Additionally, there were drops for Lost Ark, which include the Unicorn box and Shard set.
Oh yeah, no, that was hilarious because yeah, because
Yeah,
we had that conversation earlier the week where you were basically saying oh, the difficult thing that I have to figure out is which color unicorn I'm gonna go for.
like, do you go with the one with the pink, like with the pink mane, or the bright blue mane, or do you go with the all black one? Like, that's some choices.
It's
Like, how trolly do I want to be?
And I mentioned to A's that was a sentence that I didn't ever expect to hear A's ask.
Oh, so true, so true. So yeah, it'll be an interesting week. And are you going with the black one? Like, I'm tempted to go with the black one, but like my main is a paladin, and I only use the giant dog head on it, and the rest of it's like serious armor. So like, part of me is like,
it's actually kind of fun thinking about that.
Part of it's like, do I get the one that's gonna fit like the craziness that is my character, or do I get the really cool looking one for like seriousness? So these are the things that go through my head.
I think at some point you will end up eventually biting the bullet and being like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with the most craziest character I can ever think of.
Yeah. So let's see. We got. Oh, it's about time. It's about that time. All right, let's kick it over to the normal show as we normally do here. We've got apparently we've got an ad starting very shortly. So,
I mean, if it's gonna annoy and affect us negatively, then yeah, the ad's gonna play.
Yeah. We're gonna hit that stream starting soon, or we're gonna hit the intro video. We'll see you on the other side of that for the show. So let's do it.
you can fill us in on that.
Here we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the NWO show, your source for everything New World. We've also added in some Star Citizen, some Lost Ark, and of course, we're always happy to see you guys. We're always happy to be here. It is Wednesdays, our new, our new show time since at least a few weeks now. Um,
Yep.
it has been an interesting week, to say the least.
Full of ups and downs, I would say.
Yeah, it's
Would you say?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I went to the doctor, and that
Oh.
was filled with not good news. So but we'll dive away
Hmm.
from that topic and talk about fun things. Uh,
Yes.
obviously, there is a whole bunch of stuff that has been happening in New World. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has been happening in, well, frankly, all of the games that we like to cover. Um, so let's start off with where we ended last week and what we talked about last week, so that we can get some perspective on what happened since.
Yes.
And McLeod, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. So obviously last week there was some new Prime loot, some Twitch drops. We believe they're still valid. So if you haven't got them yet, you can definitely use this stream to to work on getting the time involved or the time required in order to get those drops, as it were. Um, but yeah, there was a double XP weekend that had happened. Obviously, since then we've had something else. We've had a free weekend, but like prior to that, there was a double XP weekend for just regular XP in terms of getting from whichever level you're at to level 60. Plus, there was also weapon XP. So a lot of people use that time to basically skill up their blunderbuss all the way to 20, for example, and probably a few other weapons that they've kind of missed out or hadn't actually done properly. But yeah, there was that, and then obviously we had the first point 0.1 patch for the Heart of Madness that fixed a few things. Most specifically, a Heart of Madness expedition bug that was not rewarding people properly. Um, I'm not sure since whether people had actually got those things reimbursed. I think maybe they have. I'm not sure. I need to check up on that. But yeah, the AGS had announced the free weekend, um, and we kind of went in and covered the 1.1 1.14 update and how we kind of felt. Sort of our perspective on the patch. From playing various different aspects of it. Um, the I think the thing that a lot of people really enjoyed was the fact that the difference between PvP in terms of 50 on 50s or open world kind of PvP or even Outpost Rush was that the lag and the desync had dramatically improved. Obviously, as
Yes.
as you heard in the pre-show when we were talking a little bit about that, like it hasn't fully gone. It's not absolutely perfect. There is scope and room for improvement, but the difference between prior to the 1.14 patch and the 1.14 patch is spectacular, to be
Yes.
completely honest.
Yes. It
It's
is a very,
so
very big
much,
difference.
yeah, so much more, just so much less sort of like aggravating and sort of like rage inducing. Because when you're rubber banding about and things aren't updating and all that kind of stuff, like it is just infuriating to try and fight, and infuriating when suddenly you're whipped back and then suddenly dead, right? So it's the difference was staggeringly good in a really good way. And obviously along with that, AGS kind of dropped a dev blog about it, which was really cool, and they kind of it wasn't like a super in-depth one. It kind of like it was like a mini dev blog. It was sort of a summary dev blog to some degree. Just talking about like the what was going on, why it's a consistent and like a ongoing process all the time. And just talking a little bit how about the sort of the manner in which they went about sort of uh, you know sort of changing some things to alleviate the lag and desync. Um, yeah, and then we talked about the blunderbuss and showed a few really cool kind of community resources and community content from that. Um, what did you think about some of the community content there, Hayes?
I
Like
thought it was
that
really good.
breakdown video was amazing.
Yeah. The content from the community was good. The content from I think the videos from the New World team themselves were exemplary. Like they were a great way
Oh
to
yeah, some of
showcase
the
the new weapon. You know,
yeah, because they we had there was a video, sort of a tongue in cheek video showcasing the blunderbuss, but there was also like the Heart of Madness kind of like update sort of teaser sort of thing and trailer, which was also really really cool. Um, and yeah, and there was also we also kind of like, I think we covered a controller, like um like a walkthrough as to how to create or how to set up like a I think it was like an Xbox controller or something of that film, like basically to set up New World and play New World on a PC with a controller using basically the Steam controller setup. And that was pretty cool. So we thought we'd sort of showcase that as well. Um, then we jump into some Lost Ark news. There was Prime Loot. There was a roadmap for the next couple of months that they had released, as well as uh, like a current issues article that AGS and Smilegate had released. Um, there's some great community resources that we wanted to showcase, as well as several April Fools jokes. And there was a really amazing thing from Smilegate that they did for April Fools, which was Lost Ark in VR, which, like,
which
I
went
mean,
over
talk about
really
production
well,
value.
and they might have accidentally found something that people would very well be interested in playing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was a bit nuts. I was like, how much work did people put into that? Because that, just for an April Fool's kind of, video, it just seems like there was a lot of work that went into that. Um, and then obviously there was a few things showcasing the um is he a content lead, or is he just like Smilegate's like just overall lead
he's
developer?
their studio head.
Okay, he's a studio head. Obviously, it's a pseudonym guy called Gold River. Just basically showing how sincere and how honest he is when it comes to sort of talking about, say, the frustrations of Lost Ark's RNG, as well as talking about the future of Lost Ark and the future of the story of Lost Ark, essentially. And then we jumped into some Star Citizen news, really, because there's obviously April Fools had happened, so there's some April Fools patch notes, which was kind of like some self-deprecating stuff, which was quite funny. Um, you were actually like partially reading that for the first time on the show. I could hear you giggling and stuff like that at the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Hilarious.
So they
Um,
also released the Hull or the MISC Hull A, which
mhm.
ironically has also come out and fits in a C2.
It
And I know
does.
that there's a few
That's
people that haven't
interesting.
played Star Citizen. That means a massive hauling ship fits inside another massive hauling ship.
Rolling ship,
We heard you like haulers, so here's a hauler in your hauler.
like haulingception is occurring in Star Citizen, it seems. But yeah,
So
so
that's good to
that's
see.
all that's bundled. Yeah, so that's bundled into the 3.17 patch for Star Citizen, and that's basically going through PT, which is pre-testing, um, as well as Cloud Imperium um, announcing a new MISC ship, which MISC is essentially is a law-based manufacturer of ships in the Star Citizen universe that generally tends to make sort of industrial ships and mining ships and that kind of stuff. So it's called the MISC Expanse, and it's a mobile small refinery. It's still in concept phase, so there's no like actual model for it, but there's some artist impressions and stuff. And then we finished with some general gaming news, specifically about Twitch, which was hilarious because it was kind of a callback to something that one of our viewers kind of talked about initially at one point in the show. Um,
Oh,
And apparently, Twitch had a system where viewers could push discoverability for a channel by paying money in some way, shape, or form, or throwing money at the channel in some way, shape, or form.
it turned
But
Twitch into OnlyFans in about 45 seconds.
yeah, and yeah, Amazon had to kind of like jump in and sort that out. But yeah, that was last week. That
Yep.
was last week.
So that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff, and we've
Yeah,
of course
that was a
had
lot
a
of stuff.
lot happen since then. Kicking off with New
There's
World
been a
here,
few things.
we had the free weekend has now concluded, and
Hmm.
people's initial reaction to this was that uh, you know all of the small tests new player servers got merged into small servers, and God forbid, oh, they're all gonna quit, and it's like, hold on, more's coming.
Well,
So
the other thing was they did make quite a lot of new player servers.
yes,
Not gonna lie,
yes.
Amazon,
Based on the
you did kind
numbers
of
and the concurrent numbers, there were slightly more people playing than last weekend for the double XP weekend.
yes.
But I don't think that that's a fair comparison, because the people that are going to play for a double XP weekend to keep their character kind of caught up um, are not necessarily the same people who are going to play for a free weekend. So
Yeah,
if you compare to 2 weeks ago, the numbers are
it's a bit
actually
fairer.
up pretty substantially. So this is working. And additionally, they have a 40% off sale on New World if you're still looking to buy it, you're undecided. Right below this stream, there's a link to where you can buy it on Amazon. If you buy it through that link, it supports us at no additional cost. Just putting that out there. Um,
But of
do
course, you
what
can
do
always
with that what
purchase
you
it on Steam
will.
as well.
You can also
Yeah,
purchase it on Steam and just not support us, which again, not doing this for the
that
money, so you do you.
but, but,
Um,
but we ultimately a little sadder because of if
yes,
that occurs.
yes. Um, so they did make a comical amount of extra servers for this. I think they were anticipating a larger number of people to come for the free weekend. I personally think that it needed to be a little bit more publicized ahead of time, because it felt like we had just heard about it on Wednesday, and then it was the weekend already, and then boom, and it should have been more public.
Bit more of a
Like,
ramp up,
yeah,
maybe kind of like 2 weeks of letting people know that like it's going to be a free weekend would
yeah,
probably have helped a little bit more. But
like
maybe more of these events occurring like in more frequency would help.
like when
Seem,
Star Citizen has a free weekend, 2 months ahead of time. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody kind of like, okay, hey, here's the opportunity. They start telling their friends and like, don't buy in now, just play it on the free weekend, have the opportunity there. And I think this worked out really well for Amazon, because the numbers showcase what they showcase. Um, so
Yeah.
I think that it was a success. I think it could have been better. It could have been more clearly articulated that other than servers that were locked to um, specific, like the population lock was on them. You can't make a new character on that server already. Other than those, like, you could join any server. So like you could play it on our server if you wanted to, or any of the new free ones, which there were like 70 free servers, and it was like, all right, guys, like, you got plenty
Too
of
much.
space on the lower end servers. Like, probably didn't need any. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, I think it went well. The From there, the new PTR schedule has been released. It's going to be a shorter one. They're mainly focusing on updates and stuff like that. Bug fixes type stuff. It's not going to be a crazy one like it has been in the past. Um, Again, they want to make sure the game is. Um, I have no control over this camera anymore. It just does what it wants. I apologize.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, apologies for his camera and such, but like, yeah, like
it's like
the
in
the P-
focus,
the
like all the way up here.
yeah. So the new PTR is going to be basically a lot of essential fixes, and the interesting thing is like this is sort of a showcase that what they said when they did the whole I think it was March was the or February, bug fix February, right? When they did the February bug fix patch as such, they said, this isn't going to be the only bug fix, patch that we do. Like, going forward throughout the year, we're going to be doing bug fixes. That we're going to continue with bug fixes, as a thing. And this is obviously the continuation of, them fixing bugs.
Yes. And as we know, like that's not the only thing they're working on. There are long burn
No.
projects that are being set up that are going to take several months to develop. So things like
Yeah, yeah.
regional queues for wars, for like casual wars, for matchmaking for expeditions and stuff like that. Like those kind of things are going to take a little while to build. So like they're not just when you see the patch notes for this month, know that there are other projects in work behind the scenes for later on. Um,
Yeah, and for example, the content roadmap that they did release, right? Like, you look at you look that it's like got three specific succinct like sections: spring, summer, and autumn, right? Those aren't related to just single individual releases, right? These are releases, like multiple releases in each individual sort of section. So, for spring we have had the Tempestad expedition release, right? We have had the new blunderbuss weapon, right? But what we haven't had in this particular thing is the 3v3 PvP arenas or the PvP reward track so far. And as said in the sort of disclaimer at the bottom, this roadmap may change and does not include all planned content. So there's things that have been unannounced that are potentially in there along with everything else, right? So we have additional things that are being worked on that are going to be coming in before summer, potentially before summer, right? So, and we have those to be looking out for.
yes. Sorry, I had to grab something from prior week's notes. Um,
That's fine.
so uh, beyond all of this, we've got the new PTR, we got all that set up. The merges are also happening this week,
Hmm.
and this means all of like to give an idea of how extensive these mergers are. There are currently 20 servers on North America East. There
Yep.
will be 12.
Hmm.
So
And this will
like
be happening
sizable
Friday.
reduction in the number of servers, tons of mergers. This is going to mean that pretty much every server will have over 1,000 thousand concurrent players. It means things are going to be busy again. It means playing Outpost Rush for the players who were on servers that did not have enough people playing to play Outpost Rush will now have enough people to actually go through and play.
Pyrolas.
Yes, yes. I'm very much looking forward to this. Like this weekend will be
Yes.
great. That said, prior to that, we've got the start of the rabbit event, um,
Oh
and I think
God.
this is I
Oh
th-
God.
I've got some good things to say about this. I've got some things that need to be said about this.
Yeah. I mean, there's some
Expectations
good things.
expectations
Yeah.
for this were were
Probably higher than they should have been.
yes.
But then again, I think, I think, I think our particular expectations for this may have been a little bit too high. But then again, even if you take away our particular expectation for this, what's presented, I think was the expectation even from that was higher than what was actually delivered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so the original expectation was basically that rabbits were becoming corrupted, and that they were going to be, let's say like
We're going to be
Monty
fighting.
Python and the quest for the Holy Grail when they run into the rabbit that kills like half of them. Like that's what my expectation was.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
was my expectation too. That was kind of like what we've been, we'd suggested this sort of thing a few times on shows past, like, and we're talking like months and months and months and months ago, right? This is even actually, I think we even talked about it. We may have mentioned it even on a show before the actual launch of the game as such. Um, just because rabbits were a thing in New World and in the beta and in the the preview, right? So it was one of those things where it was like, oh, this would be a great kind of like mashup, sort of like a great sort of crossover sort of thing, right? And then when AGS kind of said, oh yeah, corrupted bunnies are coming or corrupted rabbits are coming into the game for this Easter, we literally thought that was the case. But the other kind of thing was the bunnies are corrupted, right? And we get kind of led to believe all the way through the kind of lore of New World that when animals are corrupted by the corruption, they become like vicious. They become you know um they are what's the word? What's the phrase, Ace?
Enhanced, aggressive,
They're very
like
aggressive, yeah. So
uncontrollable. Like my expectation, I posted the link of what my expectation was. And like what we got was basically reskinned rabbits that don't attack anybody. That it's basically just a
just drop a
rabbit.
few
It
things.
just has a different drop table, which
Yeah.
again, not
I
terrible, but like I feel like the expectation of a corrupted rabbit should have been, you know, um,
I
it
just
would be
want
the
to
difference between running into a fox in the wild and running into a fox in the wild that has rabies.
yeah.
Like it's a different
But the
interaction between the two.
there I mean there's the bit different, yeah, there is a bit of a different interaction for sure, but like it's the thing that gets me is like the amount of work that like I don't know this for sure, right? But like we take a bit of an educated guess as to how much work was required in order to reskin an already existing, model in a game, increase its size a little bit, and then change its drop tables, and maybe add like a few new things to some databases, along with maybe a new sort of image as such, right? Um, for the things that drop, for the items that drop, and maybe a little bit of functionality for one of those things, basically being the rabbit's foot that is a consumable as such. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is probably based off an existing consumable. So there is a bit of a copy and paste, and then just like changing of numbers and changing of values and changing of resources. Really, I feel like that kind of the amount of work required to do that is less than some of the work that was required to even create the promotional stuff that they put on you on Twitter.
Yes.
Now, I'm just gonna put it out here: if it takes longer for you to make the promotional stuff for the event than the actual event has taken, developers to actually put in hard graft to do, you might want to like do more when it comes to the actual hard grafting and like what's involved in the actual event, because yeah, the expectation versus reality on this one was I mean the kind of deep chasm between the two is huge.
Yes. Now that said, the box, the crate, that's the rare drop that I'm told drops. I've killed, damn near 500 bunnies since. So like, I'm told it drops,
And
and there's some people that are like, I got it after the 10th kill, and yeah, screw you. Like,
I
Crown
was
managed to get
I
one
was
already, and
I,
like,
I
yeah,
was waiting for Ace to finish for me to be like, "Where's Crown? Where's Crown?" He's probably
yeah,
gonna like chime up in the chat, and there he
yeah.
is.
Like, I still have not gotten one. That said, it has like an additional storage capacity of over 1,000.
Yeah,
So, like, of course, I spent most of my free time today. I spent grinding away to try and get one of these boxes because that is worth it. That is definitely worth the grind. Um,
yeah.
whether the bunny attacks me or not, I don't care anymore. I want the box.
You're
Um,
just nuking any bunny that you see. just for
Yeah,
the just on the off chance that it drops, and that is really the only reason why these bunnies are dying.
exactly.
Although you did find a bunny that wasn't corrupted.
Yes, there is one bunny, just so everyone is aware. There is one rabbit in the game that is not corrupted. Ours forever, Stanley.
Yeah.
Stanley is fine. It's okay. He's doing well. He's still on the bunny island. Don't mess with him.
See, I have a bit of a theory here, by the way, Ace, and I've like I've kept quiet on this one till the actual show. I think Stanley is patient zero.
See, my hope is that they, as much as I like the story behind like Bunny Island and like the lore bit that's there, my hope is that they take Stanley's model and put him elsewhere in the world and give him a Puma's attack base damage and all of that for like a level 65 Puma and all of its skills and abilities, and just
Yeah.
leave it up
Rid-
in the north. Like gold level Stanley, just chill it up there. And people walk in, see
ridiculous
him in a cave, like,
resistance.
oh, it's a little bunny. It can't possibly be that bad.
Yeah.
Full on Monty
Ridiculous armor
Python.
and ridiculous armor and elemental resistances and a ridiculously small hitbox.
Mhm. Vulnerable only to the blunderbuss grenade ability.
That would
Like,
work, yeah.
that would be hysterical. That would be hysterical right there.
Mm-hmm. That would
So
be good, actually.
just saying, there's some things that they could do to have a little bit of fun. I'm only asking for one cave off in the middle of nowhere with one NPC. You don't even have to recreate the model. Like, it'll be great.
If you want, you could scatter a few sort of bones around the area.
Yeah,
That would work.
Like an uncharacteristic amount of like dead bodies strewn about and just one little white rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it needs to have the right sound effects as well when it goes around and killing, like just the squeak, just the classic sort of like almost stuffed toy like squeak
Yes.
when it kills.
Yes. So I think that's going to be, my hope is that they follow up with that.
Yeah.
That would be a really cool thing to have. An homage to Monty Python.
An homage
is always good.
to Monty Python, an homage to Monty Python, and a and a sort of apology in a sort of an apologetic sort of sorry we fucked up the Easter event. Here's something decent.
Yes. And I don't think it would take that much. Like, I really don't. I think it would, like, they managed to get the Yetis to stay. Just saying. One cave off in the middle of nowhere. You can even put a quest with it. Like, just saying. Could be a thing. So with that,
I know what the quest will be.
The one from
although,
what's the guy's name?
The quest will be the quest will be for the Holy Grail. Clearly. And the I mean, it writes itself, right? Like, obviously, you're gonna have to have, you're gonna have to have a mission where you go to a certain place and a certain impasse that someone's gonna ask you 3 questions, so you can pass through. And one will be, what is your quest? One will be, what is your name? Obviously, the other way around. What is your name? What is your quest? And the other one will be just a random question, and it might be easy, it might be super difficult. I mean, to be completely honest, Voidhelm, like you could role play the Monty Python mount already. Like, you have proxy voice.
That should be an emote. How is that not an emote? An emote that you can move along with, just sitting there
just
clapping
coconuts.
some coconuts together. Like,
yeah. Whoa there.
I know what I said, by the way. just, just let it pass. um, uh,
It's that arrow. That arrow. Dunk. Message for you, sir. Good dunk. Yeah.
oh god. So we possibly have more stuff coming. This is heavily dependent on whether or not we get picked for the war. Um, but we might have some more stuff coming here for New World. Until then, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, talk about some stuff for Lost Ark, and some stuff for Star
Hmm.
Citizen. So,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Lost Ark this week will have the Lost Ark G4 Invitational Tournament, which is actually pretty impressive to watch so far. Is also one of the easiest ways to get the 2 hours that you need to watch in order to get the unicorn mount, which is the current prime
Uh,
drop over on channels streaming Lost Ark at the moment. Their
so
patch
this is a,
this
this.
week is focused mainly on back end changes in preparation for a larger patch coming this month. We don't know exactly what's going to be in it, but we can guess. So, as they released their roadmap last week, or in the last 2 weeks here, it's a good opportunity
Mhm.
to kind of, we can assume that one of the new characters or one of the new classes is coming. There may also be some new mechanics coming, so it'll be interesting to see on that front. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and yeah, I'm kind of covering this quickly because the war is theoretically going to happen somewhat soon.
Yeah,
Um,
within the
and
next
there's not a whole lot of stuff happening for Lost Ark
25
at the
minutes.
moment, other than like the patch and that. Um, that
So one of
said,
the things that I kind of wanted to say about like the Lost Ark Invitational tournament, right, is like this is just it's a great example as to the fact that Lost Ark actually does have an esports, an esports kind of like side to the game, right? And you may sort of think to yourself like, well, how can it have an esports side to the game when like it's a massively super grindy game where people can pay to literally advance in the game. They can literally put money in and pay to sort of basically advance their character, to higher sort of item levels. But surely that means that the invitational and the esports kind of scene is going to be like full of whales that literally just pay to get to max to the maximum level. But that's not the case, is it? Ace?
yeah. So Lost Ark is done a little bit differently. Um, so at level, sorry, I have to quick change something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
at level, at level 28, you unlock PvP. You're then given a book of coordination where you choose skills and points towards those skills that are specific to PvP. Uh, those are only active as sets you choose going into PvP. You can in no way impact any of the PvP situations, with the exception of some open world PvP islands. Um, that's really the only time your gear score can possibly come into play. But for competitive play, once you're level 28, there is nothing you can do to increase anything about your character.
Yeah.
So like it is
So
entirely fair. It is entirely balanced. And there's no cheating the system to be better by throwing money in.
yeah. So the 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 way that you are better than somebody else when it comes to the PvP sort of especially the competitive side of the PvP aspect of Lost Ark is knowing your character, knowing your abilities, knowing your skills, knowing the strengths and weaknesses of those skills, knowing what those skills are best at countering, what potential skills will counter the skills that you may have chosen for your character or for that particular build, you know these sorts of things, right? And those aren't things that you get by progression through the game or by paying money for. It's stuff that that you yourself you have to learn. It's a player skill. It's not a character skill. And that's the thing that makes Lost Ark have a legitimate esports scene, and kind of one of the reasons why, also one of the reasons why I like I like the fact that we sort of cover other games in this show, is that we can showcase something of another game that is a clear example of a system that is working and working well, and say, why isn't this sort of kind of equalization of PvP kind of like PvP skill or PvP sort of like level not something that happens in New World?
Exactly.
Because if there's enough if there's enough kind of you know skill and like sort of like room for people to be better or worse in a system that in Lost Ark system, then surely you can replicate that in New World. And it would, as far as I'm concerned, that would make a lot of PvP a lot more accessible to people, and it would mean that people who may have been away from the game for quite some time, but still still are really actually pretty good at PvP. Don't have this ridiculous subjective like gear score hill to climb before they're even you know before they even noticed as something as like a character that is worthwhile choosing to be in a war, you know or to be in an invasion,
Mhm.
because those are two areas of the game at the moment that where it is basically the hardcore elite of the game that that's their preserve at this point in time. And I'm not saying that like it shouldn't be the preserve, but like you can still pick the people who have like the ridiculous sort of item level and the stuff that has all the different like the guys with the gear that has all the different perks that's required. But like if actual player skill um you know can make up a lot of that, then I think players should be allowed to at least be in a shot, in for a chance to be in wars and in invasions that actually really matter and really count. But
Yes.
that's me. That's my kind of side of things when it comes to sort of PvP, especially when we're looking at like other games like Lost Ark and how Lost Ark do PvP.
Yes. And I think Lost Ark is a good showcase of not only the system working, but that you can have other incentives to up your gear score on the PVE side, so that you can do
Yeah.
better and better expeditions, um, and higher and higher levels, um, while not necessarily needing a PvP bonus. Um, you know, like sure, leave the open world side of it. Well, that's disappointing.
What's up?
I don't think I got in the war.
Ah, that's unlucky. But yeah, like as Ace has kind of said, like the other kind of thing when it comes to, well, if I'm grinding all of this, then what's my incentive for carrying on playing the game if grinding doesn't make any difference in PvP? Well, it kind of does, because just like, say for example, if you normalize gear score, right, you still have items that have more perks and more effective perks for a particular situation. um you know the more that you've the harder and more that you've ground in New World. Plus, chances are you probably know that character. You know how everything stitches together, how like how various different um aspects of your build affects certain weapons that you're using, as well as certain abilities, and how those abilities like chain into each other. All of this kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot to um, somebody who really knows the game um, than just gear score. And if you're one of those kind of types who looks at any kind of like proposal of normalizing gear score as being like, well, that's me out. Literally have no advantage after gear score in any way, shape, or form. Then you really are underselling um, your knowledge and your expertise in the game, like significantly.
Yeah.
How you doing with that war, by the way? Is it
Still not in it.
not looking good? Not
It's not
looking good.
looking pretty. Like,
Well, I mean, it's 42 minutes past the hour, so is it? I don't think the invites go out
they
until
just
45 minutes ago.
slotted everything in like a few seconds ago. So
Oh, okay. I still
gonna
got
do me
14
like
minutes to
that
go
on
on my
live
download.
air. Like, ouch.
I'm I still got 15 minutes on the download on my side, so I don't think I'm getting in, man. Just
Yeah.
it happens. These things happen, dude. But yeah, should we quickly go over Star Citizen while
Yeah.
while you wait
Yeah.
to see like whether you're in or whether you're out?
Yeah.
So at the moment, 317, the patch 317 is kind of like going through the sort of the testing phase, right? And at this particular point, it's on a non-restricted open pre-testing universe or environment, um, which essentially means that anybody who has a pledge and a game kind of launcher can essentially download the OpenPTU and try it out if you want to try it out. Apparently, it is still buggy in various different ways. There's lots of bugs in there that I've heard of that have been bugs in Star Citizen for quite some time. One of the classic ones that I remember seeing was, and this is something that would aggravate you if you're a miner, if you mine like asteroids and stuff like that out in the belts and stuff like that in Star Citizen. But some of the asteroids, mineable asteroids, are not scannable. Oh, don't I fucking know it?
Yeah.
It has been that way for so long. Like I have seen asteroids that I know contain certain things, and I cannot scan them, and because I cannot scan them, I can't mine them, and it aggravates the hell out of me all the
Yes.
time because I'm like, it's got quantanium in it, and I'm sure it's got a bunch of quantanium in it in really nice percentages, and I've been looking for that for the past 15, 20 minutes, and I found it, but I haven't found it at the same time, and I need to continue my search,
Oh yeah.
which really sucks.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So let's see. New ships are for sale in game for Alpha UEC, uh,
yes.
including some of the new stuff. Prices aren't final, of course. The Aegis Redeemer, the Cutlass Steel Dropship, Hover Quad, etc., are all now available, so you can buy them with in-game cash instead of real cash.
If you
Uh,
don't know what the Aegis Redeemer is, it is basically the gunship to end all gunships.
it was supposed to
It
be a
is just,
dropship, and then they went, actually, we're going to repurpose this, and now it's quite the gunship. It's a very, very,
I think
very
it went through a
impressive
few
ship.
things. It went through a few things. I think it was something else before it was because it was a Redeemer. I think it was meant to be some kind of salvage ship initially, and then it became a gunship or dropship, and then it became a gunship. But it's just bristled with like ridiculously sized turrets for its size. Ridiculous. And apparently you can now buy it in game. So you can get that. You can get the Cutlass Steel, which is a version of the Cutlass Black. Obviously, Cutlass Black, Cutlass Steel. The Cutlass Steel is a drop ship, so it contains like a bunch of um, like um, drop seats. I think you call them drop seats, right? Like they're just basically a bunch of seats in the back with harnesses and all that kind of stuff. Essentially for drop for troops, and so you come in and it has like either side. It has doors on either side with like miniguns and what have you, like whatever it is. As well as I think there's a minigun on the back as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It also has I think it's got a back turret as well compared to the Cutlass Black. So it's kind of cool, but it's also a Cutlass, you know. So I've always had an issue with the amount of health that thing's had. And the hover quad, I never fucking got onto actually purchasing the hover quads that I wanted to get. And I
Oh,
hope
those
they
were
have a
those were
sale
a
of the
good
hover
one to
quads
get
again.
because they were
They were. I,
uh,
I I purchased two, and they were the wrong ones. They were ones that didn't have the lifetime insurance. They had like the 6 month insurance, and
yeah.
I was like, as soon as I did it, like 2 minutes after I did it, I was like, oh, I bought the wrong ones, and like emailed the customer services, and they took them a little while to actually sort of reverse them and try, like refund them. And then when I went to the page to purchase the proper ones, had ended of those and they weren't purchasable anymore. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. So yeah, I missed that. Um, but there's a few other things that are going to be on sale in the game for in-game currency. This is all in-game currency stuff, by the way, that we're saying is able to be purchased, as it were.
Yeah, the
And it is
Hercules
the
A2, which is the
yeah,
bombing variant of the C2.
yeah,
Um,
the one with the big fuck off bombs.
yeah, that's gonna
As
be quite fun. Um,
as
that
as well as the Ares and the Ion that you purchased with
yeah,
real life money.
yeah. I don't regret purchasing those. Those have been I have the Ion, um,
Mm.
because that thing absolutely freaking absolutely dominates. Even after they nerfed it to hell, it's still one of the
Yeah,
best ships in the game because it's a heavy fighter, and they need to understand that it doesn't need to be nerfed to crap because it's designed to be a heavy fighter. It's supposed to take on several ships at one time. And if they fly crappily, like the AI tends to do, then yeah, they're gonna get clapped. Like that's how that works. Like,
if you're fighting something that has a fucking huge ass gun that
yeah,
that is wielding around, the obvious intention, your obvious objective there is to not get, not to end up looking down the barrel of that particular gun, right? You keep yourself moving perpendicular and don't act really, don't fly around really predictably, right? That's the idea. But
exactly.
if you fail at that, and they do get a shot off with a big or fuck off gun, you know, you should expect to get a lot of damage slash insta killed by that weapon, and that's the issue that people seem to have had with the Ares, and well, particularly the Ares, because the Ares is the one that has the big, huge cannon that fires slowly, whereas the Ion is the one that has the chain gun, as it were. Yeah.
Yes. Most of the reasons why I went with the Ion was the not needing to reload.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like that actually becomes a pretty big factor, um, and not an inexpensive one when you're using that size of ammo. So, so yeah,
Yeah, you can run up quite a charge in terms of just purchasing ammo for the Ion. 'Cause the Ion, so basically, if you don't know, the Ares is the one that fires sort of energy as a large energy weapon, and the Ion has a large chain gun projectile weapon as such. So if you're firing actual projectiles, you need to you know, periodically at least, go and land and, rearm with those projectiles. And those projectiles will cost you money because they are something you have to. in game, obviously, not out of game. And this kind of brings, I think, brings us on in terms of the conversation in terms of Star Citizen to, so you can buy ships in game, yet people still spend money on ships with, spend real life money on ships. So
Mhm.
what's the deal there? You
So
know?
as somebody who's thrown down the wallet a number of times on this, um, there are two reasons for this. One, Star Citizen's vision for an end game, end result of the game. Um, you know, I think was I think is, if they achieve that vision, is and will be one of the most successful games of all time, if and when it launches. Um, I think that beyond that, there are other opportunities as well, like ensuring that you have that ship, and being able to get insurance on that ship for, for instance, most of my ships are lifetime insurance. You know,
Yeah, and that was going to be the main point, really, is
yeah,
the insurance. Because, like, I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, what you're buying for that is not really the ship. It's buying the insurance for that ship, and essentially what that means is, at any point that that ship dies, you're going to get that ship back. You just have to claim it in, using the terminal, and it'll be basically refunded back to you. Not the actual money refunded back to you, but like the ship will be, will basically be respawned. And the only reason why that will happen is because you will have insurance for that, and that's the idea of that. Is a system that'll come, that'll be introduced when the game goes live. Because at the moment, um, due to it being in an alpha build, essentially anything that you have in game, if it does die, you can basically respawn it back, or get it back using those terminals. So essentially, everybody has um, lifetime insurance, but lifetime of the alpha, and that is it. But when it goes into full release, people will only have the insurance that they have, and if they are purchasing ships in game, they won't have just, out of the box insurance. They have to potentially purchase that, and that's going to be really expensive, in fact. And I don't think you will ever be able to purchase using in-game currency lifetime insurance. And that is, I think, that's the that's the thing that is commanding a lot of people, a lot of the money that people put down on various different things in Star Citizen.
mhm. You know,
Yeah,
and the other side of this is really that, like, the game is being developed off of the players. It's, you, in order for that development to exist, either more players have to come in, or um, players have to continue to pay in. And what's interesting about this is that already this year they're on a record funding. Like they have received more money this year on a month to month basis than any other year in the history of development. And
yeah,
they've had months that have not had major events that are outperforming major events that they've held in the past. So, like,
yeah,
this is going to be a big year for them in terms of bringing in money. And they actually showcased earlier this year that, like, controversy is not a problem to them. Like, people went
no,
off the
they
rails about changes to the roadmap, um, because most people just don't
well,
understand how roadmaps work, and that, you know stuff
yeah, there
changes, it
is an
gets slid
issue.
around, and you know assuming things that are marked as tentative are guaranteed for a launch, and then getting upset when they get moved to the next one, or they get moved to the next patch. you know like,
Yeah,
people kept complaining about it, and it's like that it is what it is. Like, that's how development works. That's why it was marked as tentative to begin with. And the reality is, most of the player base clearly was not involved in the outrage, because the player base turned around and gave CIG Games um, more money than they've ever received before.
Yeah,
So
and that's a good kind of like it's definitely an indicator. People will obviously sort of argue that like that is it's maybe potentially the more of the whales are spending more money on it than than just generally more people, but there's always those sort of like those discussions going on as to whether that record breaking kind of month after the controversy is down to more people actually more people uh seeing the correct side of the argument, rather, or seeing the positive side of the argument rather than the controversial sort of side of the argument, or whether it's just the few people with significant amounts, huge amounts of money, just like dropping more money on the game or not. Like, yeah, I mean, I I wanted to just I wanted to mention it because like you have to at least acknowledge that that could be the case. You know, um,
absolutely.
but I think a lot of people kind of start to realize that, when you're purchasing, when you're actually making like proper purchases and sizable purchases into Star Citizen, like the money isn't going to, that like, the 3D model that of a, an environment that you want to sort of like, run around in and stuff. It's going towards um, you know, your desire and your want for this game to exist and to be done correctly, as well as going towards something that you don't really or you can't really get once the game is like fully launched, which is the lifetime insurance for various different ships. And when they're big ships, obviously you can imagine when the game comes out and you've got huge capital ships, right? Huge badass capital ships. If those things die, like they're going to be costly to replace
Yes.
unless you have
Yes.
lifetime insurance, in which case you press a button and it will kind of come back, you know. Not everything will come back because certain things aren't lifetime insuranceable, like the ship is, but like certain modules and certain upgrades and all that kind of stuff, like aren't going to come back when you claim the insurance on it. Um, but the main ship will come back, which is one of the reasons why the ships cost so much because they can't just give it to they can't they can't price point it to the point where everybody has lifetime insurance on the most powerful ship in the game, right? Because that'll just be insane. Because when when the game actually releases, like you'll already be in the most unbalanced state that you could ever be in, and then you'd have to, CIG would have to do a whole bunch of really, really necessary things, but like really egregious things to the people who have purchased and spent money on purchasing lifetime insurance on the biggest, most powerful ship in the game. So that's one of the reasons why one, those ships cost so much, and two, why they aren't just for sale, you know, all the time. If you want to purchase a Javelin, or if you want to purchase a what's the other one? The Javelin is the big motherfucker. The other one is it's another Aegis ship I recall. I can't remember it, but like it's basically like the Ares Ion of the capital world. It's got a freaking huge mammoth like railgun on it. Um, but essentially, those things aren't on sale like constantly on the actual store. They do very limited run sales of those sorts. And I think that's the best way of doing it because you can't have everybody in everybody you know who plays the game at launch to have that that particular ship forever, regardless of whether it blows up or not. It's a balancing nightmare. it would be the equivalent, like,
It depends
it
on
would be
how
the
big
equivalent
the
of,
universe is.
well, it would be the equivalent A's of, like, say for example, EVE Online starting up and everybody having a Titan, and that Titan, if it dies, gets replaced instantly. Like, like how can you balance after that? Like, it's not possible. So you have to limit the numbers, and you have to make sure that, like, people who are purchasing it are, funding the development of the game significantly. You have to gate that shit, otherwise it becomes insane.
Yeah, and that's why those the big ships cost a lot of money. They
Yeah,
don't necessarily want you to throw down 2,000 bucks uh, on a ship. What they want you to do is buy in for 45, see if you like it, or try it on a free week. Try it on a free weekend and stuff like that. And from there, put in the amount that you're comfortable with. Some of us are comfortable spending more money. I, of course, like have spent a decent chunk of money, but by McLeod knowing me, my biggest ship needs 9 people. So
yeah. I don't need to buy
I'm
a
only
massive
one of
ship.
them.
Like, I don't need to buy a massive ship. A's already has done that, so, like, I
uh,
can just be a crew member on his ship. That's fine by me. I just need to, like, all I've really done when it comes to purchasing, in actual fact, in like like actually giving money to CRG for something, it is really kind of making sure that I have lifetime insurance on ships that actually make me in-game money. And that is, to me, that is the intelligent way of doing it, because then that means that, like, no matter what happens, I'll always have a way of making money in game. And anything above and beyond that, I can purchase in game whenever I get the money, to the whenever I get to the point where I have enough money to do that. And yeah,
yes.
that's at least my kind of perspective on how I'm kind of, like, like, that's my reasoning when it comes to sort of, throwing money at CRG.
Mhm.
But yeah, don't know what else you want to talk about. I gather you weren't able to get into the actual war.
So it hasn't started yet.
Oh shit, it hasn't started yet. Okay.
I'm still on the
I
wait
I
list.
I best
And if there
start
was
up the
ever a moment
PTR.
where people wanted to know if I was, a favorite of the developers or anything like that, now would be that moment to be paying attention to
Well,
realize that no, I do not receive special treatment from anything.
where we're getting shunned even on the PTR.
Uh,
Yeah, well.
uh, it's okay, just top of the category. Just hoping to showcase the PTR war against the devs.
Oh god.
No, no, not so much.
That's somebody rang
Uh,
a community dev from AGS. Oh no.
this is gonna be remembered, guys. I will remember this.
uh See, the thing is, like, oh, do we continue the conversation, or do we deliberately just, like,
Deliberately
create
throw shade until they give me a spot.
create some
Like,
really really awkward silences, just to be like, now's the time, this is the time, AGS, to maybe go and change a few people around, and get something happening there.
wait. Oh. So with that, that's kind of all the content that we have, other than the war that
War, which
we
is
may or may not be able to get into. Uh, you know, we will definitely find out shortly, theoretically speaking.
okay. I'm signed up as well, but these things happen. Oh, Jesus.
They appear to have spawned a large boss in the town square to keep people busy.
Oh, that's nice of them.
So at least I got that going for them. Yeah,
Mm.
that's cool. You know, just waiting here super awkwardly um, for this thing to start and be like, are people going to accept their invites in time? Are they not? Are they, like when does this actually like?
I don't know. I gather you're down in Windsor, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just hanging out in the town, watching people hit this boss. Just found the stream. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. It's always good to have people, guys.
Welcome.
Um,
We're
I'm
hoping to get into this
hoping.
war that's happening. Yeah.
I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to showcase a really cool war between the devs and the players um, on the PTR. Um,
But that depends entirely on whether you're picked, and
yeah,
you know.
it is at this moment not up to me. And a bug with the quest, make sure to report it on the forums or use the in-game reporting tool. I know there's a few bugs out there, so it's definitely worth reporting. That's good.
Apparently, this random thing that was spawned in the middle of the settlement has infinite health. And it's quite loud if you're right next to it, it appears.
You just shot me.
Right in the eye?
Yeah, from like I'm up on like a house, so like I'm surprised it hit me. Uh yeah. So I mean like right now we're basically just waiting to see like what's going on here. I'm not exactly sure what the delay is. Um on the test server, we are currently in Windsward hanging out. Um
Yeah.
Waiting to see
Uh,
what's the opinion about the current situation of wars? Do you think the changes were good? I do think the changes were good. I don't know
so
if
the
they're
changes really were
enough.
performance. Yeah. The changes really were performance-based changes, right? Like, so um, those changes have definitely helped a lot. You know, I think there's work that needs to be done for wars, and there's revisions that need to be done for, like, you know, some of the mechanics that you know goes along with wars. Like wars on live servers, especially, you know, when it comes to sort of like higher pop servers, right? Wars are very, very um uh like they're for an elite crowd, and I'm not talking about, like, you know, an elite sort of like highly skilled player, but a highly skilled and highly or heavily ground character in the game. Um, you know, the the level of your gear score, and the the level of your all of your perks and all of that, like with your gear, is a very important thing when it comes to wars. And because of that, it's very it's a very prestigious kind of group that that partakes in wars, and I think that is to the detriment of the enjoyment of the a lot more of the player base and a lot more of the people who play New World. Like, it should be something that more people play.
Okay, so we didn't get slotted, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen on our channel. But what we're going to do,
Ah,
because we shouldn't miss this, is we are going to raid somebody who is in the war. So
nice.
please make sure to give them all of the love for being able to provide the content. They're obviously a small streamer, so when we do this raid, please, please, please be nice to them, throw them a follow, help their channel blow up. Like, let's do this and have some fun with it, guys. Um,
Yeah.
with that, starting the raid. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready, ready up, and make sure you guys are ready to hit it in chat too. Um, so, all right, you guys ready? All right, let's show them some love right when we go in.